We'll be starting the program in a few minutes. So, I'd like to introduce muna kung ano yung project na to. Ito ay Salu-Salo, na served by SISID. Yay! Woo! Sige! Okay, so ang Salu-Salo ay isa sa mga proyekto ng SISID. Pero, ano ba yung SISID? So, explain ko lang siya a bit. Because yesterday, there were audiences asking, why is the logo like that? Does anyone know what the logo is? Any volunteers? What does it look like? It's a frog, obviously. They said it was a diver, like a scuba diver. Oh my god, they have eye problems. Ayun, so the frog, the reason why I chose that as the symbol for CCID is because as creatives, I don't want to use the word artist, I'm gonna talk about it later. As creatives, we are like amphibians because we kind of lead a dual life, especially we're in the third world. So when we make art, we also have to balance it with surviving. So there are a lot of balancing that we do with our responsibilities, with paying bills, definitely. And sometimes we forget that sometimes we have to reach out for air, basically. And sometimes we can sink deeper when we want to like explore all of our creativeness, like explore these different genres, different ways of writing, different ways of performing. So I think there needs to be like a balance of sustainably being able to be creative and being able to survive in these, these kinds of conditions to be a creative. So what is Salu-Salo? So Salu-Salo is one of our projects in making an open space because when we create art, I think there's sort of this idea that we need to be a competitive artist or a competitive creative. Like we have to be better than the other person, or we have to do something that's above the rest. And I think making art doesn't always have to be about being the best. Maybe sometimes it's about being the bravest, like being open to yourself that, okay, I'm gonna take some risks for this. So, okay, I'm gonna experiment on this. Because we need more spaces outside publishing, outside winning contests, outside getting recognition. Maybe sometimes we just need spaces where we can share what we've made with people that we're comfortable with in a safe space. And that's the kind of spaces that we want to make in CSID. So, yun. So we started CSID early this year. So it's a very baby project. And we have our Facebook page, sisid.likha and sisid.likha for IG if you want to follow us. So when you post pictures or when you take videos of the event, make sure to tag us so that we can share it from the page then. Yeah. So for today, we are going to be having a prose and poetry showcase. Yesterday we had a playwriting showcase, and today our performers would be for spoken word poetry, A.L. Sorino. Could you and woo! And Yael Domingo. Okay. Yeah. And then for fiction and non-fiction excerpts, we have Godfrey Dancel. And then we have Camilla Andrea, who is stuck in traffic in Taguig. But she'll be on the way naman. And then for later, we're gonna have our special guest storyteller, Simone Sales, over here from Mga Apo. So she'll be sharing her works with us. So the program for today is we're going to start with the spoken word poetry. We're gonna give the artists a few minutes to share their work, to present it to us. And then we're gonna give them a little bit more time to give a background of the works that they presented before we move on to the next performer. So it's around like 10 to 12 minutes each. And then later on, once all the performances are done, you may sign up in the ticket booth. We're opening a few slots for open mic performers. If you have, after watching the poetry and fiction readings, maybe you want to share something that you've made or something that you've written before, you can sign up in the ticket booth over there. And then after the open mic segment, we are going to have Simone perform for us. And then after all of those performances, we are going to have a panel talk with all of the performers, because I think it's also important, besides seeing the works themselves or seeing it performed in front of us, we also need to know a little bit about the writers, on what their creative process are, so we know like how they have been going through in their career, like how they started, or like what kinds of works they do. And yeah, so that's basically our program for today. Okay, to start it off, we're gonna be calling on A.L. Sorino for our spoken word poetry. If you want to use this mic over there. Okay.
Hi po. Di ba ko sanay, so here we are. Here he is. May tatlo po akong tula. Yung isa po, published po siya. So, I don't know if that counts. If pwede pong Pero yeah. Sige po. So, ang unang tula ko po ay Kung Gumunaw ang Siyudad. Kung gumunaw ang siyudad, huwag kang bumalik sa akin bilang panaginip. Habulin mo ang huling tren at hintayin mo ako sa kapihan na mayroon ka pang mga buko sa daliri. Tiyak ako na hindi ka pagpapalain ng langit sa paghalungkat mo sa mga basura. Sa tabi para lang mahanap ang natitira sa aking mukha. Hindi ko aaminin kung paano bumigay ang aking mga tuhod. Kakahabol lang sa iyo sa walang kwentang lugar na ito noon pa man. Kung anong nangyari sa aking mga hita noong nahanap ng aking ina ang iyong dila sa guwang ng aking lalamunan. Bumalik ka sa akin Bumalik ka sa akin kapag tapos ka ng tumakas sa aso na tinatawag mong ama. Ikuwento mo sa akin kung paano mo narinig ang karagatan sa mga ugat ng mga batang lalaking dati mong dinuraan. Mahanap mo ako ng pira-piraso. Kaya huwag kang bumalik sa akin nang wala ang iyong mga kamao. At kung marinig mo man ang sirene ng pulis sa iyong pagtakbo, huminto ka lang at makinig. Makinig. At kung sa kasamang palad na hindi mo na ako mahagilap, ipangako mo sa akin buo pa ang iyong mga kamay at mahulog ka sa lupa na nakatingin lamang sa may silangan. This poem was published by TLTD Journal by Sir Paulo Tiausas.
Pao
I'm not
Chaus.
sure.
Pao Chaus.
Andito po ba siya?
Hindi, nasa abroad yun. Nasa Japan siya.
Sige po. Yeah. Kung paano mangumpisal. Patawarin ng albularyo, sabihin na baka ang kanyang danas ay sapat na rason. Patawarin ng anito, masdan ang kanyang kayamangging balat na kubangis ng iyo. Tignan ang kanyang pagupo at tanungin ang sarili kung nararapat siyang sambahin. Patawarin ang dugo ng isang tupa na natuyo sa isang puting trapal. Pagbigyan ng mga ngiping ng itim. Pagbigyan ng mga kamay na hindi makayakap. Pagbigyan ng mga sundalong itinaas ang kanilang mga baril tungo sa kulay abong langit. Pasensya ng mga taong tumingin pataas ng isang beses at hindi na muli. Pasensya ng tila pairap na paglaho ng araw. Pasensya ng mga mata na anino lamang ang nakikita. Ang mga lalaking pinalilibutan ang mga babae ng kanilang siluweta. Walang sala ang mga paang hindi na hugasan. Ika nga nila ng dumi ang nagsasabing nararapat silang maging itim. Walang sala ang mga katawang tinakpan. Sabihin na ang hugis ng tela ay nilalantad ang kamangmangan ng tauhan. Walang sala ang mga birheng hindi dumugo sa kanilang unang gabi. Patawanin ng sarili. Ang mga butas sa iyong mga palad. Ang mga pagkakataong sinisilipan mo ito para na makita ang puting mga mata ng isang bulag na bata. Hey! So ito po, free verse. The first two poems were written via like a dramatic situation, and this one is purely from out of frustration, like out of emotion. So this was not edited or anything, and it's very short. Walang pamagat. Nagkasunog malapit sa amin, kaya umuwi ako na hinahanap ang aking anino. Nagkasunog malapit sa amin, kaya umihip ako ng hangin. Nagkasunog daw malapit sa amin, kaya gabi na ako lumalabas. Nagkasunog daw sa amin, kaya pinatay ko ang ventilador. Nagkasunog daw sa amin, kaya pumasok ako sa kwarto ng aking mga kapatid. Nagkasunog daw sa amin, kaya diniligan ko ang halaman ni nanay. Nagkasunog daw sa amin, kaya tinitigan ko muli ang mga bituin.
Ayan, okay. Yun ang first performer natin. Wait lang, mag-ano muna tayo? Mag-talk back muna tayo for like quick questions. Pero, ayun, so ito ba yung first reading mo ng spoken word poetry? Or na-perform mo na yung mga piyesang ito before?
Na-perform na po yung first two. Like,
So meron ka bang reason why ito yung tatlong selection na pinili mo? Meron ba silang yung thematic relevance yung tatlo? Parang malakas kasi yung tones nung apoy. Biglang it just depends na okay lang yan.
Usually po kasi yung mga topics na sinusulat ko para sa school is about other people. But these poems are specifically about how I feel.
Feelings? Ganun. Okay, so mas personal na siya.
Mas personal po siya kahit na
Astig.
yeah, the dramatic situation may be a bit far away. But like, I don't know, I feel like it's personal.
So, mukha naman siyang may pinahuhugutan nga. Palakpakan po ulit natin si Yael. At ang next natin na magbabasa ay si Yael Domingo naman. Woo! May bouquet na yan na handa.
Hello, po si Yael. And first of all, I'm very nervous actually to be here because this is my first time doing public reading and I've never really expected myself to perform before an audience kasi I'm very mahiyain kung tatanungin yung mga friends ko. Ayun. And before I start, itong first poem ko, let me tell you first briefly about something na related sa psychology. So in psych, we learn about the human behavior na and the human mind. And so in connection sa mind, we learn about different thinking processes like thinking, learning, recognizing, recalling information, and in relation to that, we also learn about memory, no? And yung memory daw is kind of like a delicate thing because kapag we try to retrieve it, it can become falsely curated or remembered. So pag naaalala natin yung mga memories natin, parang hindi na siya completely accurate. And also, specifically related din sa memory is yung tinatawag na flashbulb memories. Yung flashbulb memories naman daw, ito is vivid recollections ng mga events sa buhay natin na we consider to be of some significance. Tinawag siyang flashbulb memory kasi alam niyo yung mga old-fashioned camera na may light bulb, tapos pag nag-take ng picture, magpa-flash yun. And so the photograph or the scene is captured in a photograph. And ayun, so for me, I believe na I have quite an abundance of those memories, especially with my friends. And so this first poem, it's kind of like memories. And this first poem, kagaya na lang ng sinasabi namin kapag magkikita-kita bago pumasok sa school. Kasi parang center point ng pinanggagalingan namin is yung Central Terminal, Central Station. Kasi sa Intramuros yung school namin. And ayun, kagaya ng sinasabi, kita tayo sa Central. And in English, in other words, this first poem is called Meet Me in Central Station. How long should a train ride last if it were stolen from 13th of September past UN Avenue to wave goodbye to you? Just half an hour after learning how a bowl of broth and beef slice tender mixed with soy sauce and pepper and chili, poured however the patrons did it, would warm the stomach and curl it as if we were one, paras, under the shade of Kuya's knowing gaze. Maybe I glimpse through you, too far inside, that I fell over the grass at kicking the ball too hard. The goal missed, my ankle sprained, and years later, the way certain histories repeat, or simply only due to my enduring clumsy, I am face first on the same field nursing an open wound in my knee. Do you remember the bruises we earned back at the skating rink in Pasay when we were too afraid to face the mysteries of biology? And God, they weren't even majors there. And how about this? Do you know how much fun I have with you? If we could live together, I want us to eat together because I almost forget how that feels like. I'm not much of a believer, but if you were beside me and the lights make the edges of your lips so soft when you speak, I will bring my palms together and bow, curl in on myself and sob a prayer. Maybe my heart could then remember. In a small house, maybe at Cavite, in a village where the swing sets grow creaky as remainders of love, we could stay up so late that we memorize each other's faces when they are covered with nothing but our sadness. I love your sadness even if it spills, even if it becomes too harsh. Even when we are on the way to PTEX back to Manila, and even when you have nothing to say. Even when you never stop making fun of the way I laugh to myself, never stop, just past 19 and a bit broken. The walled city, it had seemed to me, was just another long walk from home. To be very honest, what stayed me were maybe the ghosts from those catacombs that I never really got the courage to roam, but felt nonetheless. The walls, the trees, the tunnels, and the corners never too comforting to turn to. If I narrowed my eyes enough, I could see the fades of your shadows on the bricks and hear your voice subdued by the staccato of hooves that pull the kalesa towards wherever these foreigners pay their guides to lead them to. Maybe I am that desperate or an entitled high-handed fool, but I wanted to say, give me more, time and time and time. Leave yourself something behind. So, hello again. Ayan. So, have I mentioned na probinsyana ako? No? Okay, yeah. So, ayan, probinsyana ako and ayan, I'm studying in Manila. So, nagdo-dorm and minsan, pag may time, umuwi. So, pag umuwi ako, sakay ako ng LRT, baba ng 5th Avenue, and then mag-jeep papuntang terminal sa Baliwag. And I guess throughout the years of doing so, kasi I'm already in 4th year, 2nd year, nag-start mag-F to F. And throughout the years of doing so, from going back and forth the province and to Manila on my own, I guess I've been feeling this sense of some kind of independence or separateness from my hometown. And I guess when I think about it, it doesn't completely make me sad, just a slight sense of melancholia. And ayan. This second poem is called My Love is Never Too Far from the Bus Terminal Going Home. The oldest recollection I have of this city, the smell of your apartment at Sampaloc, or was it maybe Santa Cruz? I guess a decade past would not make me a reliable narrator, see? But ask me now to describe it, the nearest to compare is the smell of worn-out book pages never opened, not spine-cracked nor considered, trapped in the deepest, in a cabinet of trinkets, of laces so faded. Amoy kulob, Lola might say. If you ask me now what I feel when these thoughts prod at the cartilages of my ribs, I would say they remind me of a stomach ache attacking only during lazy afternoons, where I get stuck on whether I should move or pause, because the sun is only ever sinking, and my face is still as shallow as laughing at my own predetermined grave. It would be partly embarrassing, disrespectful to me and maybe a few others who have love for me, but if asked for a fond memory, click, click, TV so static, and 3 p.m. coffee. I used to play video games with you, lunch together with those foldable chairs in the backyard, the bamboo swaying, never cracking into. When I arrived at Manila, minutes before the 1900th hour, I felt as if in a simulation of how far I could go without breaking my own bones. If I could pedal my way through NLEX and reach Caloocan by the time I am 42, then the brittleness would go away and my mouth will not have to be stoppered before yours did. That is to say, death, dying on a deathbed. The X-ray read I have a thoracic dextroscoliosis, so maybe rushing back and forth our province on multiple bags of my handheld guilt was not better after all. But did you know it was the only way to learn after being caged for so many years? The way to unlearn the uttering of your name, always a warning hanging over your head. If you see me now and ask me how I am, for the 1000th time you would still not know the difference between the words that I may speak. My only consolation is that I am quite aware, no, I know that everywhere, wherever I am headed, it will always gonna be towards home. And as for you, so, itong third poem, hindi ko actually siya. Ayan. Ayan. So, itong third poem, hindi ko actually siya na-practice because I prepared yung two. Ayan. Pero, okay, I'll read it. Ayan. This is titled, originally, it's HMTU. Acronym lang siya. Pero, it's in reference sa kanta ng Bini. Yung, wag muna tayong umuwi. Ayan. Ayan. It takes about 8 minutes or 10 to work up your legs through the bridge extending from Dios to Recto. A little adrenaline up the stairs, escalator forgone just because it feels enticing. Plenty of times to find your footing on the gaps between the train's edge, the yellow markers on station tiles, the swaps of faces amid sweat and blunder of commuter air. Swift taps of beep cards with just enough load to keep our paces. After the hush inside the LRT2 and the whoosh of opening doors. At 8 o'clock, wishing we had not missed the indie portion and that one rising group we did miss. At the UP Fair back in February, those days after Valentine's reminded you of love again. At 3 in the morning, we were dead beat, and I'm a month ahead with you again. Past 2, ice cream tubs and multiple stories of childhoods and exes and embarrassments, and I hope you still love again. But by the time we arrive at Ligarda, love was taken away from you. Look how unsafe it is in this world with fathers and mothers who just don't know what to do with you. I wish our brains did not register familiarity so much so that time could permit us the longevity of being lost, the forgetfulness of the pain of being unknown to you. Labyrinthine corners of streets we only just heard the names of, mapped out like we were cartographers uncovering Earth. And would it allow me to learn how your pulse rhymes with my name 100 times? I'm sick of it too. But if this unfamiliarity also brings nothing of hearing it, then throughout the decades I shall spell as if I am learning to be a kid. And if by some unknown circumstance we were trapped within this train and the alarm blares red as for warning of an unwelcome stop, I would look upon the windows and see the buds of white amid the greens at Blumentritt and be generously filled. 100 times I have gone this far, they have never felt as pure. And just as so, when I see you tomorrow, and the day after that, I will trudge the stairs with brittle bones and forget which way to go. Just like yesterday, I will see you today, and I hope to see you again.
Ayan, salamat, Yael.
Thank you po.
Tama ba yung pakarinig ko? It's your first time to perform your pieces in front of a
Yes
live
po,
audience?
actually.
Oh, okay. Kapahan natin yan.
Yeah.
So, medyo nakaka-nervous, no, pag in front of
Opo,
a live.
actually, it's very overwhelming.
Mas madali magpasa na lang ng work na.
Ah.
Hindi mo na kailangan. Pero yun nga, I guess it feels nga, as you said earlier,
Yeah.
a lot safer when you have your friends,
Yes,
family here, di ba?
actually.
I guess I just have to ask lang because it really interested me about your process of memory. How do you put yourself in that headspace? Is it easier when the memory is more recent or like the event is more recent? Like how do you bring yourself, like if it's an older memory, ganun, what do you prepare yourself in any way?
Actually, yung some memories dito is not really that recent. Kumbaga siguro, like what I said earlier, yung sa flashbulb memory, some of them are very vivid to me. So, yun yung parang, nung time nung sinulat ko to, is yun yung na-incorporate ko dito. Kumbaga kasi rin, yung mga flashbulb memories po na yun is somewhat significant to me. And so, yes, kaya siya vivid.
Salamat for sharing that. Ayun. Palakpan
Thank you
palakpan
po.
ulit natin si El. Ganun, shit.
Yeah po.
Sige, next, we're gonna have our fiction and non-fiction excerpts. We'd like to call on Godfrey Dancel. We'll be reading 2 works. Good.
Ay, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Godfrey Dancel. This is my first time din na magbasa ng essays in public. No? Although I've done a couple of poetry readings and halimpusan na rin sa spoken word. 10, 12 years ago, I came up with this idea to write some essays na magiging part ng collection ko ng light, humorous essays. Tipong medyo nangangarap na medyo maano sa kalingkingan nila babong, di na bebang. Sinisingit ko siya dun sa trabaho ko noon because I was in textbook publishing and sinisingit ko siya. I came up with about 40 essays. Although, ayun, since 2013, hindi naman ako actively naghanap ng publisher. So, natulog niya siya and then from time to time, binabalik-balikan ko. And hopefully, and this is actually my first time to share yung mga nasa kabilang doon sa collection na yun. No? So, maybe, next year, few years from now, yung mga kaibigan natin sa likhaan, pwede nating pag-usapan. So, okay. So, yung collection is, ang working title na is Kita Ko Singit Mo. Hindi po siya bulgar, na it's about yung pagsingit sa pila, kasi yun yung isang pet peeve ko, yung sinisingitan ako sa pila, and then nag-expand rin yung sinisingit sa mga opportunities sa buhay, and then kabilang doon yung mga topics na tinatakal ko is politics and culture, Filipino culture. So, ito yung una pong, So, yung medyo seryoso yung sa poetry kanina. Sana naman medyo mapangiti kayo dito sa babasahin ko. First, yung una is, bakit hindi ako naniniwala na walang mawawala sa akin kung gagawin ko ang mga pamahiin? Mula pagkapanganak hanggang libing, ay iba't ibang pamahiin ang nakaapekto sa bawat isa sa atin. Tama po ba? Mali po. Mula pagkabuo sa sinapupunan hanggang libing, ay iba't ibang pamahiin ang gumagabay sa bawat isa sa atin tungo o kaya palayo sa waslong daan, sa tamang landas. Matagal na panahon nang umiiral ang mga pamahiin sa ating lipunan. Ano nga ba ang mayroon sa mga pamahiing Pilipino at napakahirap yatang lagutin ang kanilang kawing ng kanilang paniniil sa atin. Sa totoo lang, hindi ko rin po alam. Kayo, alam niyo po ba? So, hindi kayo pa. Maglaro tayo. Let's play a game. Sasabihin ko ang isang pamahiin, tapos sasabihin ko ang laman ng utak ko tungkol dito. Saka po ninyo sasabihin ko anong nilalaman ng utak, puso, tiyan, sinapupunan, bituka, o pigsaan ninyo tungkol dito. Simulan natin sa pamahiin kaugnay ng paglilihi, then proceed tayo sa hanggang mamatay ang inyong kapitbahay, mamatay ang sinumang nabuo sa sinapupunan ni numan. So, unang pamahiin, bawal kumain ng talangka kapag naglilihi dahil baka deformed ang kamay ng magiging anak mo. Bawal din kumain ng saging na magkadikit dahil baka magkaanak ka ng kambal tuko. Laman ng utak ko. So, dapat pala tao ang kainin nung naglilihi upang magmukhang tao ang anak niya. Laman po ng sinapupunan nyo. Ano po? Pamahiin number 2. Huwag hayaang i-French kiss ng baby ang manika dahil mahihirapan siyang magsalita paglaki niya. Laman ng utak ko. Siguro naman okay lang po kung talking doll ang hahalikan. Ano po yung laman ng bunganga nyo? Pamahiin number 3. Huwag masyadong gagala kapag malapit na ang birthday mo dahil magiging lapitin ka ng disgrasya. Laman ng utak ko tungkol dito. Ang totoo niyan, magiging lapitin ka lang ng mga gustong magpalibre. Walang ibang madidisgrasya kundi yung bulsa mo. Ano po laman ng bulsa niya? Wala daw. Pamahiin number 4. Mas magandang sa petsang nagtatapos sa 0 o sa 8 dahil mas magandang magpakasal sa petsang nagtatapos sa 0 o 8 dahil maswerte ang gayong mga petsa. Laman ng utak ko, tumatawa. Bakit kami ng asawa ko, yung asawa ko po nandun, bakit kami ng asawa ko kinasal ng March 5 pero hindi ko naman naramdamang minalas ako? Teka. Kaya ba kami nagpakasal ulit ng December 28 ay dahil gusto niyang mabuhay yung kamalasang inabot niya? Ano laman ng puso mo? Pamahiin number 5. Pagkagaling sa lamay, huwag agad dumiretso ng uwi sa bahay. Maglibot-libot muna upang hindi mag-hitchhike papunta sa bahay niyo ang mga kaluluwa ng yumao. Laman ng utak ko, kung natsempuhan ka ng mga loko habang naglilibot-libot ka at napagtripang kang saksakin hanggang lumabas ang iyong bituka, sigurado patay ka. Ano man laman ng bituka mo? Pamahiin number 6. Ikut-ikutin ang kabaong bago isakay sa karawahe upang walang agad sumunod na mamatay na miyembro ng pamilya. Laman ng utak ko, konting respeto naman po sa patay. Unless nasa last will and testament niya, gawin nyo yon. Makabuting huwag na lang po. Ano laman ng kabaong mo? Bakit nga ba ako hindi naniniwala na walang mawawala sa akin kung gagawin ko ang mga pamahiin? Bago ko sagutin ito, ibibigay ko muna ang definition ng pamahiin. Paniniwalang hindi nakabatay sa katwiran o kaalaman. So take note, hindi po siya nakabatay sa katwiran o kaalaman. Ibig sabihin, kung may tumama man sa mga pamahiin, ay nagkataon lang yan. Mas marami pa rin ang mawawala sa akin kung maniniwala ko kaysa kung hindi. Nang mawawala sa akin, meron, marami. Basta marami pero hindi ko maipalawanag. Sabi nga ni Carlo Aquino sa bata-bata, paano ka ginawa? Akala mo lang wala, pero meron. Meron. Teka, alam niyo ba kung ang yung pamahiin tungkol sa pangungulit sa mga taong nagsabing alam nila o may dahilan sila pero hindi nila maipaliwanag? Yung nangungulit daw, nagiging bobo. Yun. So, yung pangalan naman is this one is well, an abridged version nung something na nagtatakil sa about politics. Malapit na naman election, mag-election tayo next year. Yung lagi pag election, isang na may init na usapin yung sa party list system. No? So medyo nabanggit dito. Isa yun dun sa naging prompt sa pagsulat ko nito. So, this one is titled Fast Lane. Batid at tanggap nating may pagkakataong dapat lang naman talagang pasingitin sa pila ang ilang mga natatanging sitwasyon. Halimbawa dito ang mga butis, senior citizen at persons with disability. Kailangan paunahin ng mga senior citizen dahil ilang taon na silang nahihirapan sa pagpila. Ang mga buntis at PWD naman, dahil bahagi ito ng pagpapakita natin ng pag-unawa sa kanilang kalagayan. Ito ang dahilan kung bakit naglalagay ng mga fast lane sa ilang establishment tulad ng fast food store, grocery payment centers. Sa pagkakaroon ng fast lane ay nabibigyan ang mga taong nasa natatanging sitwasyon ng oras upang ma-enjoy nila ang iba pang mga makabuluhang bagay. Halimbawa, ang mga buntis ay makapagmumuni-muni kung worth it ba talaga yung kanilang hirap maglakad at tumayo kapag nakapila, kapalit ng sayang naramdaman nila ng kanilang asawa ilang buwan na ang nakakaraan. Ang mga senior citizen naman, nakapag-iisip-isip kung may connection ba ang mabagal nilang paglakad sa pagbibigay prioridad sa kanila sa pamamagitan ng mga fast lane. Hindi lang naman sa pagbabayad, pag-order ng pagkain, pagpila in general, may mga fast lane. Maging sa larangan ng politika ay meron din mga fast lane. Ang party list system, halimbawa, ay fast lane para sa mga local at regional party, political party, hindi kalakihang national political party at interest group upang makapagsingit ng miyembro sa Kongreso. Kabilang sa mga nabiyayaan nito ay yung mga may actual at valid na advocacy, pero otherwise ay walang pagkakataong isingit sa usapan sa Kongreso ang gayong advocacy. Wala namang masama doon, di ba pa? Malay natin, isa sa mga beneficiary ng fast lane to batasan ang makapagsingit sa super busy congressional calendar ng isang matino-tinong panukalang batas. Tulad ng fast lane sa grocery ay may mga nagtatangkaring tumingit sa fast lane papunta sa Kongreso. So, una na rito, yung mga laos ng politiko na naghahangad na makatuntong o manatili sa Kongreso. Nariyan din yung isa pang klase ng mga gustong mag-participate sa party list election. Mga nasa neighborhood association, organisasyon ng mga CQ, mga samahan ng mga dating adik. Sa madaling sabi, kahit sino na lang. Isa ring matagal nang ginagamit bilang fast lane sa pagpasok sa politika ang showbiz. Kung marunong kang magpakyut sa mga forgettable na pelikula, pwede ka nang tumakbong mayor. Kung may ilang taong ka nang nagpapatawa at pinagtatawanan, ay pwede ka nang tumakbong vice mayor o konsehal. Kung may ilang action movie ka nang kumita naman, kahit papano sa takilya, maaari ka nang tumakbong congressman. At kung may ilang taon nang namamayagpag ang mga pelikula mo sa mga film festival, pwede ka nang tumakbong senador. May iba naman na hindi showbiz kung hindi military adventurism ang ginamit na fast lane papasok sa politika. Hindi ito gaanong ka-effective, no? Dahil for one, kailangan mo ring maging good-looking, no? Aside from kilala ka na military personnel. Yung may ganitong qualification, successful ang fast transformation from putschist to senator, congressman, mayor, at iba pa. Yung iba naman, hindi napalad, no? Napapamuka na lang sila ng, ay putya. Bakit nga ba marami ang gustong pumasok sa politika? Dahil ba talagang gusto nilang magsilbi sa bayan? Potang litika yan. Baka naman gusto lang nilang isingit ang personal na kabuhayan. Well, ewan ko lang kung hindi pa mag-isip-isip ang iba dyan, matapos maging fast lane to prison, ang politika para sa ilan. Thank you.
Salamat, Godfrey. Napaalala sa atin na ginagawang retirement plan ang pagtakbo sa gobyerno ng mga iba't ibang personalidad. Ayun. Tanong ko sana, paano mo naisipan yung gawing medyo interactive yung akda, di ba? Kasi kung mababasa niyo po yung akda, parang meron siyang stage directions dun sa text mismo na yung magsasalita yung persona, tapos kakausapin niya yung may akda. Na ano yung nagtulak sa'yo na sana nagawing mas dialogo sa nagbabasa at sa nagsusulat yung teksto?
Actually, doon lang naman po sa pamahiin, sa piyesang yun, yung ginamit ko yung ganung style. No? Siguro dahil na rin nga doon sa mismong idea na pag nagtatanong ka kung ano yung basis ng sinasabi ng pamahiin, sinasabi ng matatanda, ganyan. So, parang wala kang karapatang magtanong kung bakit. So,
ka na lang.
Yun, ka na lang. So, ganun, parang kung yung babasa naman, kung ano ba yung, gusto ko lang din malaman kung, gusto ko lang din na mabigyan sila ng chance na, ganito yung i-share na yung nasa isip nila.
Hindi ko alam yung mga meron pala mga ganong mga pamahiin, yung magpe-French kiss ng doll. Hindi ako aware doon, sorry. Hindi ko alam yung salitang French kiss. Oh my God. Ayun, siguro one question na lang din siguro. Ano yung feeling ngayon na yung parang unang beses mong parang kumbaga i-perform yung fiction work? Parang gaano siya kaiba sa pagtatanghal ng kunwari poetry, spoken word poetry?
Iba siya kasi yun nga mahaba aside from yung left mismo, pero yun nga maganda rin na yung isang pyesa is may interactive para hindi rin mabore yung audience.
So yun, sinusubukan din natin nagkaroon ka ng pagkakataon ngayon na i-testing kumbaga yung works na i-include mo sa collection na sana nga mas yung mga ganito mga espasyo pwede mo pang ipalabas yung mga eksperimento mo para makita pumapatok ba to, ganun yun. So parang testing ground talaga to na hindi graded, ganun. Na wala pang lugi, ganun. Ayun. Sige, salamat. Palakpakan ulit natin si Godfrey.
Salamat pa.
Sige, ang huli nating reader for the night is, mamaya pa pala. Si Camilla, Andrea. Ayun. So she will be our last fiction expert. So if you could introduce yourself a little bit. Ay, gusto mo ba? Okay lang, pwede. Sige. Huwag na lang, ganun. So, if you could introduce yourself a little bit about your process or like a background of the works that you will be reading. Yeah.
Thank you. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. I go by the pen name Camilla Andrea. And isang malaking karangalan para sa akin na mapabilang sa mga performers ngayong gabi. Kasi share ko lang po, kapabalik-balik ko lang din po sa pagsusulat na paglilikha. Kasi 4 years sinubukan kong maging biologist and maging doktor. Natuloy naman yung pagiging biologist for a while. Pero hindi ko na lang tinuloy yung pagdodoktor. Pero siguro, masasabi ko lang masaya ako nasan ako ngayon. And siguro, kung masasabi mo nga rin na kung mahal mo talaga yung isang bagay, pagpapatuloy mo and ipaglalaban mo. So, yung pinrepare ko po na pieces for this event, actually, may elements siya ng romance and may elements ng time. Tatlo po kasi yung piece na pina-prepare sa amin. And actually, it was supposed to be from the future to the present and back to the past. Pero yung ipapresent ko na lang today for the interest of time would be present and past. So, actually, hindi masyadong present, pero okay. Medyo past, pero present. Like, so, the first one would be entitled Until the End of Time. It's an excerpt from that short story. It's a romance and teen fiction short story, and I uploaded it in Wattpad. So I'll start na po. What will you do if the world really ends next year? Chloe, our student council secretary and resident chismosa, asked the group as her feet, which were visible under the table in front of her, tapped to the beat of Britney Spears' Till the World Ends. No one answered. Chloe called each student council member one by one, threatening to mark us absent from the meeting if we still did not respond. She started with the sergeant-at-arms until the mini roll call reached me. Our dear Vice President, Chloe said as she clasped her hands and raised her eyebrows quickly and repeatedly, sporting an impish grin. How about you? What do you plan to do? Me? I asked sheepishly. I felt as if all eyes in the room were on me, which made me uncomfortable. But I tried to regain composure and act as if this was no big deal. I don't know, maybe I'll just sleep. Who cares? I said while shrugging, hopefully adding to my facade of nonchalance. You're no fun as usual, Chloe said as she rolled her eyes, although I know her well enough to know that she didn't really mean the gesture. How about you, Press? I felt everyone's focus shifted from me to Patrick, which was a relief. Silence filled the air as everyone, including me, held our breath. And even the speakers remained silent as Britney Spears' song came to a close. I'm not sure, Patrick said, looking at the ceiling as if looking for answers from above. Although, considering that possibility, then it might now be the right time to confess. The room erupted in cheers and wolf whistling at Patrick's answer. Chloe even went as far as performing a mini dance of triumph, now to the beat of Beyonce's Run the World. Thank you, Beyonce. I made an effort to participate in the fun, clapping my hands and laughing, although deep down, I felt a lump in my throat, and my heart ached as though it was being ripped apart to pieces. Guys, our dear president is getting uncomfortable, Chloe said, hushing the crowd. I think we're being too much. What if he actually wanted to be a priest and confessing his sin was what he really meant? Right, Patrick said, joining in the playful banter. You're being quick to judge. The room erupted into a boo with what Patrick and Chloe said, which was disrupted when the door of the student council room suddenly opened, revealing a young, balding man in a printed cardigan and fitted slacks. Hey guys, what's all this commotion? I could hear you from the end of the hallway. Our student council advisor, whom we endearingly call Sir Jake, chimed in as he raised his pointer finger to his lips. We immediately hushed down as he said that. Hi, Sir Jake, Chloe said as she tapped her iPhone 4 to pause the music playing on the large speakers. I was just checking the attendance and we're done. Sir Jake raised his left eyebrow. Then you no longer have business here. Okay, now, chop chop, he said while clapping his hand. As usual, I found myself walking together with Patrick towards the jeepney stop, a thing we've done since we've got closer last year. He said it just makes sense that we go home together, being neighbors and all. I knew his words meant nothing beyond platonic concern, but I am sure he did not know how hard I tried not to be too delusional, that he also had a crush on me. About what you said earlier, I started, instantly regretting that I even opened my mouth to interrogate the guy I like regarding his crush. I know this isn't about confessing to a priest, so who's the lucky girl that you're referring to? Huh, I can't believe you're just as curious as them, he said, pouting. Hey, I'm your close friend. I don't want to be late to the juiciest gossip, especially about you. I pouted back. Uh-huh, he said with an incredulous look. The thing is, my crush's name is Nanya. My heart skipped a beat, and I felt like I had to gasp for air. Who's Nanya? I asked. Patrick let out a slight grin, then said, None of your business, as he ran away from me, laughing. Hey, come back here, I said, laughing along but pretending to be annoyed. End of excerpt. Thank you. So for the next excerpt, it's an excerpt from Fated Encounters. It's a historical fiction short story with elements of time travel. What date is it? My lips gaped at the randomness of her question. It's the 13th of July, I answered simply, not understanding the need to ask for the date. Today is Sunday, but the house is open for visitors every day, and she should be expecting us with all her communications with Mom. She said, as if contemplating something. I was wrong. You arrived just in time. Come on in, Kay. I've been waiting for you. She motioned for me to come in, and I obliged. But now I understand Mom's reaction when I was younger. This cryptic woman seems to have some screws lost, probably brought on by old age. Still, I must be wary. She stopped midway through her tracks and looked back at me. I once again got a chance to look at her cloudy eyes, which made me feel uneasy. Those look heavy. I'll be the one to carry them, she said, gesturing to the bag I was holding containing the bagged meals Mom had prepared for her. Despite my attempt to argue that I wanted to be the one to do it, she gripped my arm tight with a force even greater than I think I could muster. I flinched, and at that moment, I just knew that I should not go against her wishes. Manang Ana and I stopped in front of a stone structure that looked like it might have been a fountain in its prime, and now it lay stagnant and without life, filled with some fallen leaves floating on the murky water on the basin-like base in a much smaller second layer. Could you do me a favor? Manang Ana said, her raspy voice suddenly turning syrupy. I have yet to open the windows upstairs, but I trust you could do that yourself. Okay, I said, my gaze following the end of where her pointer finger was referring to. I need to unpack these meals, but I'll follow you soon. Go now and familiarize yourself with the place. I was unable to argue or even ask any questions. She immediately disappeared when I looked back at her. She sure was strong and agile for an old lady. Even with Manang Ana no longer in sight, I decided to follow her instructions and enter through a room with wide open wooden doors at its entrance, which she was pointing to earlier. It has a wooden circular table immediately visible from the outside, with a few books laid on top of it. I looked around the room and noticed the light hanging from the ceiling, the wooden chairs, and the sunlight coming through the windows with capiz panels. Then I saw her, the young Segunda Katigbak, looking very regal in her framed portrait displayed proudly on a wooden stand. Her brushed up long black hair makes her forehead more prominent, accentuating her soft features. She wears small, dangling earrings that contrast her hair. The pañuelo she was wearing over her camisa, the sign of which can be seen until the chest, was beautifully embroidered with leaves. Hi, I said in jest, holding my right hand up in a wave, in a pretend introduction to a stranger. Only it is not supposed to be a stranger, but a family. You're really pretty, so it's not hard to grasp why Jose Rizal fell in love with you. But between you and me, I really want nothing to do with any of this. I felt shivers run down my spine as I felt as if her eyes shifted directions and looked straight back at me. The room felt cold, and I felt as if someone was observing me from behind. I knew I was alone, but that added to the creepiness of it. I went through the corner with the capiz window, but I do not think that these were the windows Manang Ana asked me to open. It does not look like I can open them. My eyes wandered a bit and saw what looked like books laid down on the table, which turned out to be photo albums of our relatives, most of them now dead. I shot it close, even with just a few flips, as I already had enough of their photos, and I did not want to add to the eerie feeling of looking at dead people's portraits. I was careful not to look at Segunda's portrait again as I moved away, approaching the stony staircase. Finally, I reached the part without a portrait or photograph, grateful to be released from Segunda's gaze. I walked some more and almost jumped in fear when I saw another portrait of Segunda, this time wearing a white oversized t-shirt and looking directly back at me. It took me a while to realize that it was neither a portrait nor a photograph, but instead was a mirror, and I was looking at my reflection. Gosh, I must be going crazy. I shook my head and ran back downstairs, but the wooden doors by the entrance were now tightly shut, and I felt trapped with the confines of the house, at the mercy of the portrait of a beautiful woman who I felt was watching my every move. I tried to get out, but I felt like I was being pulled through the inside, and I saw the albums flipping open even with no wind. I ran away to try to find an exit, but all I could do was go upstairs, where I might feel a sense of peace. Pushed the window open, and a sudden gust of chilly wind burst in. The force of the wind felt out of the ordinary, and it was so strong that it pushed me back. I closed my eyes as I braced myself for impact, but before I got to land on something, I felt the air turn moist until I felt myself drenched, like I was playing in the rain. After what felt like an eternity, finally landed on something. No, someone. I opened my eyes and stared back at the familiar face. Her hair is now a mess as we both lay down on the floor. Our screams joined in a chorus as we pulled away from each other, with the sound of my heart pounding atop my chest drown out the competing screams that filled my ears. End of excerpt. Thank you.
Yan, salamat Camilla sa pagbabahagi. Matanong ko rin, so katulad ba ni Godfrey, first time mo lang rin kumbaga, itanghal yung excerpts ng works mo? Or have you done another reading like this before to a live audience?
First time po. First time.
Wow, okay. So, nakaka-nervous
Sobra.
Ay, kayo tatanong kasi, meron din ako stage fright. So, kamusta naman yung feeling with reading the lines like out loud? Do you do that before? Is that part of your process? Do you read your manuscripts then beforehand, as in out loud? Or mostly mas internal yung pag-process mo?
Mas internal actually yung process ko. Pero I am planning to do that, yung basahin ko after pagtapos ko na yung ibang pieces ko.
Parang ibang function of your brain din yun yung gumagana when you're listening to actual words na sana nga this experience could help you look for different avenues of yung processing the work, ganun, or trying to make sense of it then like after writing it, ganun.
Yes, and I would just like to say na I'm really just so happy na I get to share my stories. Kasi I felt like wala naman nagbabasa sa akin before, and it's really an honor na there are people right now na listening to me with my story.
We're honored to have you naman, syempre. And yun nga, yung works nyo pala, are they, kasi di ba excerpts of longer works, and they're online right now ba? Like they're complete works, or they're ongoing works?
Yes, so I have 3 uploaded works na yun sa Wattpad. And yung 2 excerpts kanina, short stories lang yun, incompleted. And they're both available sa Wattpad. And yung 3rd, it's called Carte Blanche. And it's a dystopian sci-fi romance story. I haven't finished it yet, but
In progress pa rin sa
Yes.
yung later chapters.
I'm still working on the, I think, 8th or 7th or 9th, or basta yun. Di ko kasi, supposedly kasi, bi-weekly yung
Yung
publish
schedule mo
nun.
for publishing.
Pero, nagkaroon ako ng
Hala.
writing slump, then, I found myself not having the time. Time actually yung problem ko. Alam ko na isusulat ko, pero walang time. So, mga around 300 words lang at per session yung nagagawa ko. Tapos sobrang bihira lang ng sessions. Pero I wanted really to enjoy the journey na magsulat.
One step at a time, one step at a time.
Yes.
So, yun, palakpakan ulit natin si Camilla.
Thank you
yes.
so much.
Okay. So, yan ang readers natin for spoken word poetry and fiction excerpts. Let's have a 5-minute break, and then after, we're gonna have the open mic session for those who volunteered. So if you still want to have a work to be read here, mag-sign up na tayo sa ticket booth, and then we'll proceed with the program from there. Sige. Let's see each other in 5 minutes. Thank you. mic segment. So for our open micers, first we'll be having sino ba? Sige. First we'll be having Godfrey Dancel, who will be reading again for us, for the open mic. Ready na ba? Ready na ba tayo? Palawa po natin si Godfrey.
Magandang gabi po ulit. Nandito na rin lang, sulitin ko na.
Again.
Aside from writing essays, nagsusulat din po ako ng mga tula sa English, Filipino, Ilocano. And I'm part of a book project na ilalabas sana soon ng Alfredo Tadjar Library, yung isang library na based sa La Union. Yung book is collection of poems in Filipino and may Ilocano translation na nakafocus sa isang chapter, may halagang chapter in Philippine history na nag-start noong 1970s. So, I'll be reading yung dalawang tula na yung in Filipino. So, yung point of view is, yung matula is sa point of view ng isang male activist na naka-experience nung negative effects nung chapter na yan in Philippine history. And 5 taon, yung 5 tula na yun, may iba-iba sa iba-ibang taon siya nangyari. So this one is September 1972. Title, Bagong Umaga. Ang mga tandang ngabay na pipi at ang gumising sa akin ay tilaok ng bakal. Paano na ang kanilang mga himno ng pagbangot paghalakak? Ang mga ibon ngabay nabulag sa lakas ng mga tilaok? Sino na ang tutula tungkol sa pagnitit pagmulat? Ito ang unang umagang sa akin walang nag-alay ng himno't tula. Hindi nga ba sila nakatulog dahil sa balita kagabi? Tulala pa ang parang, sindak pa ang pampang, batid nilang ang gayong mga tilaok ay nakapagpapadapa sa palay at nakapagpapapula ng tubig sapa. Yan po. Okay. Yung susunod na po, yung pangalawa is titled Pagdating. This is November 1974. Pagdating. Mabutit narito pa rin sila, nasambit mo, pagpasok sa silid na 2 taong nangulila. Mga nalulumbay na larawan ng ating pagkabata. Ngayoy magarang sa plot ng hubad na dingding ng minadaling pagtanda. Katabi ng mga kawil na uhaw sa tubig, ilog at sikat ng araw. Sabik sa ating mga halakhak sa maghapong pagtatampisaw. Mula sa naalimpungatang mga kwadro, nagpupumiglas, humuhulagpos, kumakawala. Mga tula ng pagkabatang pinutol ng imbitasyon sa himpilan ng pulisya. Yan pa. Thank you.
Yun, salamat Godfrey sa mga mababangis na tula na yun. Sunod, tatawagan po natin si Ethan para ibahagi ang kanya.
Sa dulo ako nakalagay doon ba't ako yung sumunod?
Kasi staff ko yan dapat, pero hindi siya nagpakita on time. So, audience na lang siya. Yan.
Okay, paumanhin. Good evening everyone. Thank you for sharing parts of yourselves kanina. So, I was actually inspired. And my process for performance, I'm not good with preparation. It's more, I prefer something mayabang na, pero I prefer something raw for myself. So, this poem, I thought about a while ago I hate hearing myself. But I thought about a while ago because I want to be part of this space. Gusto ko makisalo sa Salu-Salo, kumbaga.
Title drop.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so my name's Ethan, and I was born with a short tongue. I scraped my tongue, so don't worry, I'm gonna show it now. So it's just one flash there from here to here. So this is my tongue. It can't extend any longer than that. Okay? So the pediatricians, they advised my mother, Ma'am, baka po pwedeng idala na po natin sa surgery itong si Ethan. Kasi mahihirapan siya magsalita paglaki niya. Mahihirapan siya mag-pronounce ng mga specific words. For example, I can't roll my R's. Oh, di ba? Parang konyo pa rin ako. Rrr. Ganun yung R's ko. That's one. But I'm here talking to everyone right now. And in my mind, I don't have any difficulties in pronouncing or enunciating or even speaking words. But lately, I've been thinking that my pedias might have been right. I should have cut my tongue so that it would have gone, so that I would have been able to speak words that I should have when I should have spoken those words. So this is evidenced by 3 things that happened to me in my life in which I blame my stupid, short tongue. First, this was high school. I was going out with my katabe, my seatmates, first love, diba? And for some reason, we would always go on dates. We actually went on a fun run. We would go to McDo. We would eat together. But I never kissed her. We would have opportunities to have our first kiss, but I never did because I was afraid. First, I was afraid that, shucks, ang ikli ng dila ko. Magustuhan ba niya yun? Second, it's my Catholic upbringing. Oh, I have to be married first, or I'm afraid to bastos. Ayokong bastusin siya by kissing her or doing something else. And a week after that, I ended up kissing somebody else at the party. And I was never able to speak to my first love ever again because of my short tongue. It's my short tongue, not me. Okay? And the second life experience that I have as evidence that it's my short tongue that's preventing me from being able to speak words. It's that time when I was actually in I was in a party with my law school friends. So I'm in law school, yuck. We drank at the condo, all guys, because we were from the same fraternity. We drank, blackout drunk, and then morning came. I was sort of waking up because my brad, my katabe, was suddenly starting to touch me. He was touching me from my chest area, through my legs. And at first, I was thinking that he was waking me up. I was already awake, but I don't know. For some reason, I wasn't able to speak up until it developed into something that is, as you might imagine, very triggering. His hands ended up in places that I never thought would have been possible with a so-called Brad. It went on for 5 to 10 minutes, and I couldn't say anything. I was bigger than him. He was only 5'2" or something, and he was thinner. But I couldn't move. I couldn't say anything. My body froze. My mind went blank. And I was thinking, why is this happening to me? But it's just my tongue. Kasalanan ng tongue ko yun. Kaya hindi ako nakapagsalita. Kaya hindi ko napagsabihan ng Brad ko. Kasi maikli ang dila ko. Thank you.
Salamat, Ethan, sa pagbabahagi ng pagiging komportable para sa amin na pakinggan ng iyong akda. At kasalanan ito lahat ni Godfrey dahil sinabi niya ang kwento tungkol ang pamahiin tungkol sa French kiss. So we would like to give credit where credit is due. Ayun. So next, we would have Jasmine Gardosi, who would be performing for us.
Hey everyone. I'm from the UK. I'm from a city called Birmingham. I'm visiting for 2 weeks. Does anyone know Birmingham? Have you been there? No, you don't ever have to go. No, it's okay. Thank you. I thought I'd perform a more like chilled out poem today. So Birmingham is beautiful. It's not. But do you have blossoms here? In the Philippines?
Kind of have something similar-ish?
Ish. Yeah. See, now we do have blossoms, but like just, because Birmingham is a big grey city, we have like a few blossoms. But because we don't have much great weather, we just latch onto them. We're like, oh my gosh, blossoms, wow, yay. So I was asked to write this poem about blossoms in a big city. I'm like, oh my God, what? I don't write about nature. I write about mental health and being gay. You want me to write a poem about nature? And then I realized, okay, no, I know. I know the take that we're going to take on this. So this is a poem, whatever difficulty that you're going through, if there's something that you have lost, I'd like you to hear this poem, and it applies to everyone. Because we live right here in a very built-up city, right? And sometimes the sights of nature can just heal us, and we're reminded. And the beautiful thing about Blossom is that it's all about new starts and new beginnings, and that's what this poem is about. So whatever you're going through, whatever losses you're going through, this is a poem about new beginnings. You will hear some landmarks about Birmingham. Sorry, you won't recognize them, but just ignore them. When we become the concrete that surrounds us, when our loss towers over our morning commute, when our winter stretches like Centenary Plaza, when our guilt is brutal as the city we walk through, when our regrets stack as tight as the back-to-backs, when our shame is the same shade as the pavement rain, when our grief escalates to scrape the sky. Think of what blossoms do, and remember, we can begin again. Cherry blossom is the flower of stone fruit trees. If they grow from stone, then so do we. Begin again. Follow the botany. Follow the blooms. We are the pink petal of new skin over wound. Begin again. We are not the structures that hold us down. No matter what regrets may cement you to the ground, we're not man-made. So we can't be made of our mistakes. Nature makes us, so let it take us as the world moves us on with all of its weight. Begin again. It's okay for us to fall apart, to lose our leaves, to grieve. It's okay for us to break, to let go, and then to grow new seeds. Begin again. Live through your chillest winter and begin again. Lose the thing you need the most and still begin again. Bloom the color of human against the bricks of St. Philip's, against the pillars of Town Hall, against the tarmac of Broad Street, against the Clydesdale walls. Take time and take breath. Like the branches of alveoli that flower in your chest, you will bud new beginnings after the end. Begin again. Begin again. Thank you.
That was a very, very beautiful reminder of, even these small, minute things can remind us of healing and of growth and of rebirth, definitely. So thank you for that. So last in our list would be, of our open mic speakers, would be Leandro Reyes. Call him to the stage. Ay, pwede naman. Yung may stand na. Yeah.
Hello, ako si Leandro Reyes. I've been a spoken word artist for a little less than 10 years now. I'm obsessed with this art form. So much so na napause now. I'm currently on tour with my Mike Candeliano and kagagaling ko lang ng Zamboanga this morning. Sobrang saya doon. Mulan lang. Pero the poetry community there is very, very small and it's very tight, it's very intimate. It's very strong. Anyway, yung pyesa na to, sinulat ko, I think 3 years ago, bilang bahagi ng pagdiriwang sa buwan ng wika nung taong yon. Sorry, medyo pausa ako, sana okay lang. Tungkol ito sa pagpapahalaga natin sa wikang Filipino. Ang pamagat ng piyesang ito ay Pray for the Fish at sinulat ko in English. In my country, it does not snow. It heavily rains until we freeze. We curl up inside our blankets, never mind where the water comes from. In my country, the children play under alulod waterfalls. And puddles of rainwater are made for fun. My country does not have a word to translate hello. Instead, we say, kumusta? And we respond with, Kumusta? Centuries of defense has taught us to check on our comrades' well-being before the first beat. I live in a country where we pray for fish and eat pig's blood. We don't cringe. We don't cringe at the sight of balut. Why would we? We take the insides of chickens and ducks and feed it to our children. Only then can we call it a barbecue. In my country, the neighbor calls me anak. The other kids, anak. Nanay is more than just a word for mother. Because everyone's mother is everyone else's tita. I refuse to call strangers stranger. Instead, I say, yeah. I live in a mamsir nation. Mamsir. A resilient rice importing, supposedly exporting nation, mamsir. I live in a country who overvalues the English language relation. Mamsir. So go ahead and tell me that I have a nice accent for a Filipino. Whatever the hell that means. But don't bother telling me to shove it down my throat. Because it's already there. So sorry that it's already there. In dismay and probably a lot of sarcasm, Dr. Ralph Lawrence Fonte said, English is the language of the future. Shit. No wonder the future isn't as colorful as it used to be. Sir. When I die in my country, my countrymen will not say, he was a writer. No. Instead, they will say, yumao siya, isang manunulat. My country tells me, death will not strip me of verse, of song. Life might strip me of life, but my country will not. My country was built on continuance, on the continued revolution, on the revolutionary shit. Which probably means I don't care if you don't care, because I do. And my language does. Ako ang anak ng inang bayang pagod na sa kapapaliwanag. Namaos na nga ako eh. Nakasaksak sa dila ko ang tinik ng Ingles sa kada pangungusap. Itong sangsang ng malansang isda sa hininga ko ang signos ng di pag-alpas. Nakakahiya. Nakakahiya. Itong lamat ng dayuhan sa wika kong angkin. Kaya, sorry kung di ko kayang mag-thank you. Salamat. Thank you.
Salamat, Leandro. Parang anthem na siya pag may nagsabi sa atin na, wow, your English is so good. Ganun, di ba? Yun. Yun, salamat sa lahat na nag-sign up, na naging matapang kayo para ibahagi ang inyong mga akda. At huli sa lahat, ang ating last performance. Tinatawag ko si Simone Sales ng Mga Apo para magtanghal para sa atin. Palakpakan natin siya.
Hello. So, hi, I'm Simone. Few things. I love it when Leandro performs that poem before I perform kasi ako yung nakakahiya. Kasi English lahat ng poems ko. Always, without fail, he performs that right before I perform. I'll just get the... Hello, I'm Simone. I'm a storyteller and poet. And I think the first thing you will notice is that I am not wearing shoes. The thing... Sige. I'm not wearing shoes because I have stage fright. I've been a performer for 10 years, but I still get stage fright. And what helps me is remaining grounded with my feet on the ground. So that's what helps me. Okay, so I'll be performing a couple of poems today. Some old poems, but mostly new poems. So I hope you enjoy them. She is storyteller. She is the most beautiful girl. She is daughter and delight, precious gold and mother of pearl. She is treasure. She is kept in keeper, covered and combed, carried in her little thrown feet like feathers afloat. She is moonlight. When she bathes in the dim black waters, skim the glow of her skin. When she dances by the fire, fingers like feathers in flight. And when she sings, the world is silent. It's a practice called binukot. She was covered like little gems that might lose their luster. She is princess, maid of the tower, weaver of armor, caged bird, and she is storyteller. When war first came to the mountains, the people were asleep in their huts, blades resting in their sheaths, treasures tucked in their cases. When the first screams tore the night into steel and blood, the able ran for cover, taking nothing, leaving everything, their land, their home, and their storyteller, whose feathers were never meant for flight. Since then, the practice of binukot has diminished, fathers fearing for their beautiful daughters and the weight of the song they must sing. At present, there are very few cases of binukot. They find it is no longer practical to princess young girls. But I am storyteller. I am average girl. I am daughter and delight, doom and dramatic outbursts. I am treasure. Worn-out paperback novel that fits so well in your hand. Feet like tree roots, too stubborn to stop loving the touch of the land. I am sunlight. When I bathe in sweat, summer skin brown, as burnt as it gets. When I dance in the streets, fingers like treetops and sway. And when I sing, I ask the world to sing with me. She is gone, but her song lives on in all of us. We, the little river stones, the more weather, the brighter I am fighter. I am climber of tower, wearer of armor, free, lost bird. And I'm a storyteller. Hello. So that was an old poem. I wrote that in 2014, so it is 10 years old. And I've also been a storyteller for that long as well. But my stories usually run for around 10 minutes, so I won't be able to share a story with you tonight. But I will take this opportunity to promote our event that does stories, and this is our event called Jasper. Every month, Every month we have an event called Jasper in Maginhawa. It's a storytelling event, and it's an open mic, but instead of spoken word pieces and music, we have storytelling. So you can join us. Our event was supposed to be last week, but we moved it because of the storm, and it's going to be this week instead on October 30. All right. So I'm going to move to my much more recent poems, and this one was published. It was my first published poem ever in an international journal, Voice and Verse, and this one is called True. So if you've known me, and I don't think anyone knows me here except for my friends, my poems before used to be very sweet poems, just like River Stones, very hopeful. But ever since the pandemic, something was unlocked. And then I didn't want anymore. I used to write poems to make people happy. Then I realized I wasn't giving a voice to the other parts of me that really needed to speak. And so in the pandemic, all of these poems started coming out, and they were not sweet, but quite the opposite. They're so angry, and it was so different from my disposition. So it worried a lot of people, but it felt so good to write it. And that's why I wrote so much of them that it's enough for a book now, and I'll be publishing it in January. So I'll share a couple if you don't mind. So this one is called Chew. And I wrote this for all the women who always feel like they need to carve parts of themselves to make themselves palatable to others. No, let them choke if they can't handle you. And this is called Chew. In my sacrifice, I was crisp and burning and ancient, smooth as gristle and bone and lithic flake. One morsel. Crust and slipping meat, fold me into a blade you can swallow so I can lie among the things you never got to say. I shed my pelt. It lay lonesome by the fire, horse hair tips glowing like prints on limestone. Wrote you a letter, signed in clay, baked hoof, and brown dust. This note, a wedge. This archaeology of displacement, how sure are you of what is yours? You're all teeth in the end. And tonight, you bite into my grin. Thank you. So I don't want to dwell on most of the poems, by the way, my collection is called Feral. Most of my poems are like that, but I don't want to dwell on those tonight. So I'm going to take a break from those and go to my love poems, because I do have some love poems. And this is one of my favorite ones, and I wrote this from a trip in Baguio. I heard the wistful sigh. Yes. It's always Baguio, isn't it? Okay, so this one is called IIRC, or if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, it was a Wednesday. Beneath an orange sky and a canopy of old campaign tarps, I checked the time and realized I loved you. I felt the ticking on your wrist through my feet, the gravel beneath my toes, in my mouth, ultimate gray with a hint of sea salt. There were other colors too in there, and I heard them in drops like a song in a sieve or a misplaced rhyme. If I remember correctly, there was a park, and the sharp blades bent and spilled and pulled beneath us, marshy, swallowed us whole, choking on our clumsy attempts to stay afloat. Your mud laugh was bright as a ripple, and I wore it around my throat like a prize. If I remember correctly, I told you first. And the words spilled, poured from the mountains like wine in a burning forest, and you held my stinging ears to keep the mob from flowing, but they spilled down your fingers and stained your shoes. If I remember correctly, they still look that way. I remember the light rain, the bus ride, the twists, the playlists I could not change because my phone was in my pocket and my pocket was under your head. I remember panic, like a black pearl gritty in my teeth. Then I remember a kiss and a color I cannot paint, but I can show you. Then you can tell me if I remember just fine. So I did want to do a story, but we don't have time. So I will be performing a new piece, though. And I made this piece because I attended Practice Lang, which is a show of Leandro Reyes. And our special guest, our teacher, was Jas Gardosi, who taught us a bit about how to elevate our performance on stage and use all kinds of amazing tools and tricks. And so this is something that I made in their class. So I hope that we can test it out again here. So it's very new. Okay. So I will need your help. Is that okay? Yes. Okay. Let's practice first. So can everyone hum? That sounds a little like aircon sa LTO. Louder, parang aircon sa City Hall. Just kidding. Little louder. Let's have a louder hum. Again. All right, good. Okay, let's try it now with the hand cue. So when I do this, that's the cue to hum. Okay, then when I bring it back here, I want you to stop. Okay, can we try? 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'll ask for your help. So watch my hand so that you can help me out in this poem. My voice is crisp end of a lightning bolt. The ozone on your tongue after kissing the sky. My voice is the crackle that touches the nose, the electric thread between us. My voice is the minute after the sun dips behind the buildings, this color spreading into the hair that frames your cheek. My voice is the sinking coin in the fountain, wishes on your wishes, loose hopes and high change, flipping our luck around a couple turns. My voice is slumber and the promise of waking, chaos and the absolute oath to keep. My voice is a current and a cascading river, a spilling thing roaring and rolling before rippling into song. My voice is on your shoulder, a thorn in your chest, a tremble in the lung, a thing that twists around your fingers and tumbles down your throat. My voice is a sun, a burning thing, an explosion, daunting, expansive, an all-encompassing, world-ending, cosmic, disastrous, marvelous thing. My voice is plea in your pocket. 10 rings and 9 rejects ago. Longing so much for yours. Okay. Sorry na exercise yung vocal cords natin. Okay, so I'm down to my last piece. I know that we are pressed for time. I will perform my last piece, and I'm a big fan of Carly Rae Jepsen. Who else is a fan of Carly Rae Jepsen here? Okay, if you're not, I will make you a fan. Walang choice, sorry. Okay. So I love Carly. I used to only like, more, I don't know, I used to think like, oh, pop music, ew. But then I learned to appreciate it so much, and now I'm fully a pop music girly. And I love Carly Rae Jepsen with my entire And I wrote this poem after her song Too Much, which I resonate with because I always feel like I'm too much. So I always wonder if should I today pull back, or should I let myself be? Should I take space if another person is taking the space or is present? How should I conduct myself, and how should I make myself smaller for the convenience of the situation? But let's not do that. And so this poem is about that. It's called Extra. Today, I am far too much. Too much step to be walk. Too much sound to be sung. I am too much color. I turn white like a page with too much knowing. It cannot choose the words to start. Today, I am too much metaphor. I am monsoon and drought and still afternoons when the dust cannot seem to settle. I am heat wave and fevered prayer, lightning and the glass beach. Today, I am too much wound and open flesh, like a mouth singing about wanting to heal, too much like the sun expanding, exploding, too much condensed into a ball of cosmic dust and molten dirt, too much heart and pine and grief and far, far too much music. Today, you're enough, too little. Your heart cannot contain my fire. Your fences, my feral need to run into the brush. Barefoot and sprinting, let me. You can love me tomorrow, but today, let me dance.
Salamat, Simon. And yun nga, i-plug ko lang ulit na they have an event on October 31? October 31 ng mga October 30, mga apo. Sa may maginhawa sila sa Altspace Studios. Doon ko rin nakilala si Simon. And yun, it's a very homey place, a very welcoming place. So if you wanna tell your stories there, baka you might wanna drop by. Ganun. Ayun, sige, ayun, salamat sa lahat na nag-perform. Palakpakan natin silang lahat. Yun. So we're down to our last segment. We would just like to call on the writers, Godfrey, Yael, and AL, to sit on our chairs, on our panel chairs. Ganun. We'll just have like a short 10-minute panel about your creative process. Ganun. Yan lang. Casual lang. Medyo hot seats yung itsura ng chairs, pero huwag kayong matakot. Dito sa defense. Ayan, okay. So, kakamustahin ko lang kayo, ganun. Okay naman. Sucks lang, ganun. Ayan. So, I guess the general question we'd like to ask siguro, like, why do you write what you write, ganun? Or when did you start writing, kumbaga? Or why specifically poetry, or nonfiction, or fiction? So just we have an idea of, like, what interests you, or what topics, what subjects do you want to talk about, ganun? Siguro we can start with Simone to share a little bit about your practice.
Okay, so I started with poetry, technically, but I never performed. I only started performing my poetry after storytelling because I realized I loved it. And then I have stage fright. So I shake when I hold something in my hands. That's also why I requested a mic stand, because I shake and it bothers me. So I learned to memorize my poems most of the time, not anymore. But I learned to memorize them, and that's how I got into spoken word.
Awesome. I started poetry in high school and college. Nagsusulat ako ng bars. Pero hindi ko sila pinapublish. Self-consumption lang. And then I remember a friend, meron akong collection nung poem. So this was fourth year high school. I showed a friend and sabi niya, this is all trash. So yung file so tinapon ko lahat yung works na yan. So when I had my first laptop, I tried to kinompose ko siya ulit. No, I knew most of the pieces by heart. So in-encode ko siya ulit, and then the file name, yung title ng collection na yun was Trash Bag. No, so hindi ko pa rin siya, yun yung nag-form siguro nung ilan sa backbone ng ibang mga poems na ginagawa ko ngayon. So yun, I think that was the challenge for me, to ituloy, to prove na kaya ko namang magsulat. Yan. So I've been a writer since 97, 96 I've written professionally since 96. Nasa textbook publishing ako galing, and then I'm now nasa publishing pala ng Sun Magazine. I do yung poetry, since nagsusulat ako, nag-edit ng articles, essays every day, yung poetry, yun yung parang break ko. Pag napagod na akong mag-edit, magsulat ng essays, so poetry naman yung ginagawa ko. And then, usually, late evening, magsusulat ako. And then, yung sabi nga ng wife ko, ano ba pinagpupuyatan mo? Pupuyat ka na naman. So, that's yung sort of therapy ko na rin, yung pagsusulat. And, so yun, I've grown more confident sharing my works na rin. So, I contribute regularly to a Facebook page na independent page na nag-feature ng poetry, and sa Panitikan.ph may lumabas na yung piyesa last week. So I intend to continue doing poetry. Meron na rin, aside from yung na-mention kong project kanina, meron na rin initial na usapan for collection naman ng poems in Ilocano. So yun. Maganda ngayon na maraming independent publishing companies na lumalabas na nagbibigay ng opportunity sa mga writers na makapag-publish din.
So, ako naman po, I guess I started writing back in high school with Sir Godfrey. I never had any formal training then, but siguro yung nearest to it is yung naging feature writer ako before in high school, pero that was just for a while. And siguro sometime along that time frame, nag-start ako magsulat ng mga tula, mainly because I had started developing crushes. Alam niyo naman siya. Hindi, kumbaga, kasi you know naman na typical subject ng poems, yung mga love, romance, infatuation. But even despite that, I think it's kind of important na naging part siya ng journey ko, because it helped me make sense of my feelings, because those feelings were like, sabihin na natin, not acceptable in society standards because I am part of the LGBT, and writing about those feelings and my identity helped me make sense of that, and naging way din para mas ma-accept ko fully yung sarili ko. And so, regarding that, siguro yung writing ko is fundamentally more on self-expression and more on personal sa akin. And I'm not saying na yung other kinds of works na ginagawa ng ibang creatives ay not personal. I'm just saying na parang specific siya sa akin. But yeah, other artists are like that din naman. And ayun, recently lang talaga ako naging mas intentional din with my writing. And ngayon nga, I'm trying to be more engaged with artistic communities, creative communities like this. And wow, I'm just so amazed na ang daming magagaling na creatives. And I'm happy na I'm here, and I'm trying to be more nag-explore in the art and creative community.
I'm just 19, charit. since 6 years na akong formally susulat for school, medyo mahirap rewind back. Charit. As far as I know, I started kind of writing 5 years old pa. And it was a way to express myself kasi nahihirapan ako magsalita. Ang dami kong pag-uutal kanina. Pero I hope na I performed well kahit ganun. And writing for the longest time has been like a way for me to express what I want to express. As someone na medyo in their head, medyo baliw, charet. medyo shy, medyo demure. Ganon. And yeah, at first, it's like a personal hobby ganon. Pero as time passed and like as like a writer grows, I believe na nagiging mas political, nagiging mas malawak yung pagtitingin nila sa pagsusulat sa mundo. Kaya I agree na kahit na sinasabi kong personal yung mga tula ko kanina, na it's a very political act. Writing is a political act. And yeah, I believe that the personal and the political cannot be separated, given how everything is debated. Kahit yung pananamit mo, yung boses mo, o yung pagsasalita mo, it's debatable either by law or just the cultural sphere of, yes. Apart from poetry, which is, well, ito yung tinatampok ko talaga for performances kasi accessible siya. It's very short, very demure. Compared to like storytelling, ganon. And it's easier to perform kasi bite-sized lang siya. But I also do essays. And the weird thing is, kasi naapektuhan din ng lengguwahe talaga yung pagsusulat. Kasi sa pagsusulat ko ng tula, mas gusto kong Tagalog kahit na Englishera ako. And I think, yeah, it really depends on the mode of language that you use. Kasi with, I don't know, Tagalog being a Filipino, it's easier to be more emotional in Tagalog than in English. And there's this deliberateness in English, like how the tenses are used and the rules are very rigid. And maybe that's why Tagalog for me is a way to express emotions, while English is a way to analyze such emotions. And thank you for the tech talk.
Yan, salamat sa pagbabahagi nga na we have similarities, we have differences in our creative journeys. And I am glad that I hope the audience and even your fellow writers that they can resonate with your experiences and maybe they could also have some insights on what your creative process are. Ayun. So medyo pressed for time na tayo, tapos hulihin na tayo ng police kasi lampas sa 8 o'clock na. So I just, mabilis na round na lang if you have any works in progress or may gusto kayong i-plug, ganun. Meron ba? 1, 2, 3, ay.
Hello, so I have actually, me and Leandro have monthly shows. So we just finished, patapos na yung October. But we have Jasper next week on October 30. And if you are interested in poetry, there's a slam poetry event tomorrow in Linya Linya headquarters. This is organized by Likhaan and of course Leandro Reyes. And Jasper Dosi will be one of our judges as well. So if you're interested, please join us tomorrow. This is in Linya Linya HQ. You can find the details in LR Bashang on Instagram. Thank you.
Meron ba kayo? Ayun na ba? Okay, sige. Ayun, sige. Salamat sa lahat na umattend. Palakpakan natin ang ating mga performers. At ayun, gusto ko lang mag-give thanks din sa UP-ICW team, Likhaan. Sinuportahan nilang event ito, sila mag-document ito. At dahil yan sa pasimuno nila, si Sir Vlad Gonzales. Mabilis na. Yan ang ating main sponsor, ang UP Department.
Opo, nagsalita na po kahapon. Kaya ang ipopromote lang po yung nabanggit ni Godo, yung Panitikan PH. Panitikan.ph siya dati pero domain payment issues po. So currently po siya ay panitikanph.com at yung binabanggit po kanina ay yung artist PH thread. Pwede po kayo magbigay ng tula, actually kahit anong naisusulat ninyo. So like lang po ninyo yung Facebook page tapos pwede po kayo magpadala. Sa ngayon po ay short form lang po ang kayang ilabas dahil hindi pa live yung aming website. Nasira po kasi nung nakaraang taon, na-hack po siya. Pero by November 28 sa ating event na Writers Night, ito po ay taunang pagtitipon ng mga manunulat at lahat po ng ating collaborators. So sana po pwede kayo sa November 28 sa UP Diliman, Ignacio Jimenez Gallery. Doon din po ilulunsad ang reconstructedpanicanph.com at pag nailabas na po ito, pwede na kayo magpasa ng inyong mga sanaysay, mga kwento at may tatampok po yan sa ating website dahil po gaya ng Salo-Salo at ng SISID ay katawang po ninyo ang UP Institute of Creative Writing sa pagbibigay ng mga karagdagang espasyo, pagpapalawak ng ating naaabot sa ating mga ideya at sinusulat. So sana po magkita-kita tayo doon at makasuporta, makapagpasa kayo ng mga akda doon sa ating website, panitikanph.com.
Salamat Sir Vlad. At yun, that's the end of our program for today. Gusto ko lang i-plug na lang rin. Meron kaming event sa start of December naman, first week of December. So it's gonna be called Sketches and Ladders. We're gonna be producing some works in progress, some performances, some musical storytelling performances, ganun. So whatever floats their boat, tingnan natin kung ano yung pwede nating ipakita, yun. Ayun, and thank you for supporting SISID. We're planning to do more events in the future similar to like this, workshops then, all kinds of events na sana to build bigger, a more open community of art making. And yun, I want to say thank you definitely to the performers who shared something about their creative process, about their relationship with themselves, with the other, and with language, definitely. Ayun, and I want to make more spaces like this na we have more writers, more performers, and more audiences who will be able to share nga in the sala-sala na ginagawa natin ngayon. So,